In the previous session, we went through an overview of the law of gender, its masculine and feminine energies, separation, and union. In this session, we're going to cover the law of polarity and its process in forming the physical world we live in. Everything is dual. Everything has poles. Everything has its pair of opposites. Like and unlike are the same. Opposites are identical in nature, but different in degree. Extremes meet. All truths are but half-truths. All paradoxes may be reconciled. The Kabbalion. In the overview of this series, it was mentioned that the belly button was associated with the solar plexus chakra. This part of your body was once the entry point for a very important anatomic structure called the umbilical cord, which was a growing fetus's lifeline. In simple terms, the umbilical cord is a tube-like structure that connects a fetus to the mother's placenta. The placenta is an organ attached to the uterine wall that in turn connects to the mother's blood supply, carrying oxygenated blood and nutrients and deoxygenated blood and waste products to and from the fetus. When thinking about this connection, the law of polarity is in motion, and remembering this example will help to visualize the more philosophical abstraction in this lesson. The belly button is the center point that divides the upper and lower parts of our body, the left side from the right side, and the in and out of our diaphragm. Visualizing this gives us the polarizing points of height, width, and depth, base units of linear dimensions that offer perspective to spatiality. Before we get into spatiality, we first have to ask, what is polarity? Polarity is defined as the property of having poles or being polar. Physics defines polar as a straight line at an angle of 90 degrees to another line that passes through the center of a circle and another given point or pole. The center of the reflecting surface of a spherical mirror is called the pole. This can be visualized as the monad, a point in the middle of a surrounding circle. The monad can be seen in the cubic wave field diagram towards the midsection of the left and right cube. The monad was described in the Law of Cause and Effect session of the Direct Path series, which can be viewed by clicking the pop-up in the video display. Every phenomenon comes to realization in 3 stages: polarization, ideation, and formation. The first stage, the cycle of polarization, or the center point in the monad, is characterized by a circuit of energy tending towards a solution of continuity that will find its satisfactory resolution in the generic selection of its most perfect opposition, its complement. Now, if we refer back to the law of gender and the different degrees of masculine and feminine essence, we get a clear understanding that each end of a line or spectrum is the point where the expression of energy is concentrated. The second stage of ideation, or the outer circle of the monad, is the energetic image of the form that it generates. When the generators are selected in the phases of polarization, they arrange themselves in the phase of ideation so as to fix the energetic shape. The complex lines of force determined by the generative poles establish the potential skeleton of the physical form. The third stage, the cycle of formation, or the cross of intersecting lines, which can be seen in the midpoint of the cubic wave fields diagram, is the addition of the point with another point that forms the line, and multiplication of the line creates the face. As in the preceding cycles, the face will pass through all the phases of polarization and ideation in order to create the square. The square becomes the point of departure for the cube, and the cube is the basis for our physical reality, the matrix. The cube constitutes the principles of spatiality. The cubic wave field is the fabric of existence that balances the various rhythmic degrees of gradients, dimensions, measurements, pressures, and limits that manifest the infinite variations of causes and their effects. This concludes the session on the law of polarity. Feel free to visit the Foundation's Ko-fi page to find out more information on this law. In the next session, we'll be covering the law of rhythm.